And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rafael Chacín, as known as El Capitán Rafucho, and welcome everybody to a special episode of Let Them Speak. And right now, we are still at the summer of soccer because there's like a lot of events, including the wrestling. But this episode is going to be dedicated to a lot of preview between Houston Dynamo versus Charlotte Football Club, also a little bit of Copa America, and our early prediction for the next pay-per-view is going to be on July, which is Money in the Bank on WWE. And right now, we have a special guest right now. So you might know as one of those persons from Just Fan Podcast. Not only they're talking about for baseball, also for basketball, football, soccer, and a little bit of wrestling. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege to say welcome Carlos from Just Fan Podcast. So how's it going, Carlos, from Just Fan Podcast? So how you feel about it? Because we are ready to see like the summer of soccer on this.
Oh yeah, man! It's been a lot of great things. First of all, thank you for having me on the show, man. I appreciate you. I love the work that you do. I think you do an amazing job, producing all this stuff that you do, man. So thank you again for inviting us over. My other guys couldn't be here just because they're there at work. I mean, life happens, right? But hey, man, looking forward to this. So yeah, we got summer of soccer, just like you said. We have Copa America going on. Of course, we got our own regular local teams also playing at the same time as all of this is happening. So very exciting stuff happening in the world of soccer, that if you're into it or whatnot. So I'm ready to talk some Dynamo, Charlotte. Let's go.
Yep. And right now, we got the preview between Charlotte Football Club versus Houston Dynamo. So I know there's going to be like a really, really excited right now because here we are at the first topic. So I really know that Charlotte Football Club isn't at the top position at the East Conference. But for the Houston Dynamo, it's under level number 7 at the West Coast, which is the West Conference. Because the first one is LA team, which is known as the LA Club. And the first one is still Inter Miami. But at this point right now, which is I prepared to guess like at another start because whatever I had to go to showcase, there was one player in the Houston Dynamo, Sebas, had to increase the value. Whatever they decide if he should stay or whatever was going to get live, but they're going to expect to start it and get significant minutes. But I really think that another player, which is Colwell, gets like the nod over Bassi to play at this natural 10 spot. In a way, like Charlotte is informed right now. Because not only they just won against Philadelphia United and, of course, DC United, but Dynamo has been like at a struggling, like very like at this best.
Yeah. You said it best right now. Yeah, the Dynamo right now is in the 7th spot. Charlotte FC is doing a lot better. I think if we even look at the records right now, excuse me. Charlotte is currently, let me see, what is it? Well, the Dynamo right now for sure has 7 wins, 6 losses, and 6 draws. I think we're like at 27 points. So it's not, how do you call it? It's not, and then Charlotte FC is at 9 wins, 5 losses, and 6 draws.
Yeah,
so
5 losses.
Yeah, and so you guys are definitely in a much better position at the moment. I think that right now with the Dynamo, the biggest issue with the Houston Dynamo that has been lately is that they don't really have a true 9. They don't really have a true forward in that position, and they've been struggling with that. However, in the last game that the Houston Dynamo played against the DC United, which by the way was a homecoming for the Houston Dynamo's head coach Ben Olsen, who was with DC United since 2010 up until 2020. He hadn't been back since 2020, and he came back the last match we had against them, and the Dynamo ended up going over there and beating DC United 4-1. And with a hat trick from Sebastian Ferreira. And so, 3 goals for him, and then 1, I think, from forward Gabe Segal. how do you call it? And then you had Brad Smith also for the Houston Dynamo recorded 2 assists off the bench, which is a new single game career high for the MLS veteran or whatnot. So certain things are starting to kind of click. It's still way too early, obviously, to predict what may happen, but the like I had mentioned earlier, there's really not a true forward for the Houston Dynamo right now. However, they did just sign the Argentinian Ezequiel Ponce, who's coming off of AEK Athens. And last season, Ezequiel Ponce had he had 10 goals throughout the season, then 4 in the playoffs for AEK Athens. So this is one of the Dynamo's one of the more expensive signings that the Dynamo has had, and that's one of the things that the Houston Dynamo isn't really much of a strength. They don't really sign a lot of guys for big money. It's not known for that. So this is one of those things where they're trying to invest in a guy that they believe will definitely help them in that spot. And who knows, it may all pay off. I mean, he had a pretty decent record last season with AEK Athens, so we might see him be very beneficial for the Houston Dynamo, and hopefully that investment pays off for them.
Oh yeah, it's exactly. But also, I just wanted to tell it about for the Dynamo. I mean, they just got like a great defense, but
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if they're gonna face like a great contender, which is Charlotte Football Club, because right now they're at the top 5 in those positions right now. So how this gonna be like the planning about for the strategy? Because they just have like a Ezequiel Ponce, they just had Sebas, and they gotta really acknowledge that they gave like a return like to the favor to DLSC like the defense. But I really thought it's gonna be so realistic because last week they just play against DC United, which
Right.
is they have like an amazing performance of Gabe Siegel.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really thought it's gonna be like a more realistic because they had to figure it out how the defense and how the 4-4-3 is gonna be like, because this is gonna be like it is so complicated because
Right.
we know that Sebastian Ferreira is gonna be like one of the excited, but also including Gabe Siegel. But I think that this is gonna be like very interesting to see how the things are gonna be happening right now because this is gonna be like a battle between East versus West.
Yeah, exactly. You brought that up. I mean, the with the Dynamo defense, they've only allowed I think just 23 goals this season. I think it's tied. I think with the in the I think it's tied in the Western Conference and across the MLS if I'm not mistaken. But also, the thing that makes Houston, at least the Dynamo, I think lead the Western Conference is the possession. They lead it with I think 57.5% possession across the whole season so far. And it allows the Dynamo to control the matches, and the style of play. You control possession, you control a lot of the game, but at the end of the day, even with the possession, you still need to be able to execute, And right now, as of last week with Sebastian Ferreira's performance, I honestly think he's coming in hot. Just like in baseball, you got a guy that's coming in hot or whatnot. So that's definitely a boost to your team. So I think right now the Dynamo is relying on his performance. Still Ezequiel Ponce won't be in the Dynamo until July 20th. So he's still not in the mix yet. But eventually, once he gets there, I could see this team elevating. But for tonight, they're definitely going to rely on Ezequiel. I apologize on Sebastian Ferreira and how do you call it? And maybe a little bit of the magic that that Gabe Segal gave also as well. So I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna rely on that, but also focus on the tighten up on the defense as well, and obviously control possession, and that's it. They got to find a way to score.
Yeah, exactly. And I know it's gonna be like a very complicated right now, but hello to Daniel Barry Sports Highlight that is say on face. Hello to you. What's the analytics on this, Rafa? So basically, we're gonna have like a preview about what's happening in soccer, which is between Major League Soccer, between Charlotte Football Club versus Houston Dynamo. But after which is talking about for a little preview of Houston Dynamo versus Charlotte Football Club. So right now let's talking about for Copa America, because right now in the summer, I mean, it's getting hot in here, but I know that it's gonna be so interesting to see how those teams in Europe, in America, they just want to play like the best of the best.
Mhm.
And I know that between the game between Venezuela versus Mexico, it became like
Ooh, don't remind me. Don't remind me.
And not only they're just talking about that because they just broccoli attendance because they're in the Chargers Stadium, which is like the SoFi Stadium. And I just see like a lot of Mexican persons, the Venezuela persons, but I really think that in this Copa America, they have a lot of surprises, but also they had a lot of disappointment of
Mhm.
underdog, a little bit of favoritism, because I've been telling for that one because the favoritism is well between Argentina, Brazil,
Mhm.
Colombia, and sometimes Uruguay. But I had to be careful about this because Venezuela had to be like the dark horse in this competition because not only they just won against Ecuador, but also they just won Mexico. And then another one is gonna face against Jamaica.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like a so important right now. So in this Copa America, because right now it's gonna be like the soccer game. So who you got in this Copa America? Who has the biggest surprise and who has the biggest disappointment so far at this Copa America? And I apologize to everyone who's watching, especially for the Mexican persons, but we gotta tell it about for the soccer persons. So let's talk it about for the biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, and the dark horse of this edition of Copa America.
Yeah, no, first of all, I do. So obviously, I think I posted on my Twitter account. If you follow me at Carlos Talks 24, I posted a picture of me and my fiance and I. So my fiance is from Venezuela, and I'm from Mexico. So obviously, when we were watching that match, it was how do you call it? Like a civil war between both of us. We were talking so much
Oh,
trash against each other. It was me and her just going, just talking trash. Obviously, all of it for good and fun. And so we went to go watch the Venezuela Mexico game at a local bar here, her and I. And I honestly I gotta tell you, the way that El Tri has been playing lately, um I wasn't too confident. uh but that's because, in my opinion, and this is speaking as a true Mexico fan, I've told my guys on the podcast this when we talk. I think Mexico has failed in like developing the young talent because they had, if you remember 10, 12 years ago, they had guys like Chicharito, they had guys like Giovanni Dos Santos, they had
oh yeah.
uh, all these players that Memo Ochoa, like as a goalie, like that was you had all these guys, but then it's like they forgot that these guys get older, and you didn't really do much. Yes, you had Irving Lozano, but
Yeah.
that's about it. Who we saw score against Germany in 2018 in the World Cup, and which, as a Mexican fan, I was like,
Oh
what?
yes.
It caught me off guard, but I haven't seen much after that. The Mexican national team is like they didn't prepare for the future. They just kind of were in right now mode, and they didn't prepare for the future. So, I mean, this is just me again talking as a fan that's been following for years. So it's disappointing, really, to see that. It's disappointing in my eyes to see that. But I want to take you back, and I'll get back to your original thing. When the
Yep.
United States missed the World Cup, 2018, everybody was pissed, just like I am with how Mexico's performance is. Obviously, none of Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. can miss this upcoming World Cup because it's obviously playing in North America. But it's when USA didn't qualify, like it set a little fire under the U.S. and now I despite of some of the matches that I think, despite their loss against Panama, which to me that was also a little bit disappointing. Um, the U.S. has played a lot better than what they were before. Point blank, right now, if you're comparing USA soccer versus Mexico soccer, USA soccer right now has more players playing in Europe than Mexico does. A lot of right now the Mexico talent is coming from Liga MX, which isn't necessarily a issue because obviously Mexico likes to play with their own, and that's what all the other countries do or whatever. But I think the development of Liga MX hasn't been what it's been in previous years. I think the quality of it has gone down, and that's why you're not seeing some of these results translate over into the national team. So, and then some of the questionable calls that Lozano as a head coach has made for Mexico and not putting certain players in as well. I think all of those things have attributed to kind of like Mexico's downfall right now. But sorry, I just wanted to get that out of my chest. Now, as far as for Copa America is concerned, honestly, dude, I hate to say it because it looks like it's this way. I think Argentina's going all the way with it to win it. But I will say this. The way I saw Venezuela play, dude, I agree 100% with you on being a dark horse. Like that to me, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because right now you guys are at the top of Group B.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if you guys, if Venezuela actually goes pretty far in this Copa America. And and honestly, it's well deserved because y'all played with such intensity and such love for the game. So honestly, I'm wishing the best for the Vino Tinto. Straight up.
That's very great because I know we have like a easiest group, which is Venezuela, Ecuador. Also, there's Mexico and Jamaica. They have like because in this edition they have the easiest groups, but also they just call El Grupo de la Muerte, which is like the deadly one. So everyone's getting like a little bit fight. It's gonna be like everything's gonna be on quarterfinals, semifinals. But I really understand that while Mexico national team has been struggling a lot, but also because after we just saw for like the qualifiers in the World Cup 2026, I mean we just did like a great job. But I really think because based on the point right now, I mean the national team of Mexico, they're really struggling at all. Because Nolly has been more interested about for the young persons who playing at least for a while. But I know that it's gonna be a very controlled, but also most happy to the clubs rather to go for that level. Because I know that they have improved more than the players and about for the Mexican League, even Europe, because they never set like at a top limit for salaries because all these Mexican football teams are like can easily pay higher, but they overprice your talent due for the prices of the Mexican talent. But I know they're gonna make it so they're not gonna be like a bad situation.
Right.
But there's gonna be like a very consistent because most cinematic issues in the code there's like a lot to explain, but it's not that bad. When you look at the history of the soccer in Mexico, it's actually improving. But as being like at the gone for like very average, but they know because right now there's like a South Americans who play like they have a trash talk about it, but generally they have like a track record against Commonwealth, both national and club competition. But also they have a lot of things that had to go for the force. But I know that some players can be like indisciplined, but they had to realize that they had to improve. So in my point right now, I think the biggest choice to say to the Mexico national team, they had to prepare for guys getting best. Because right now there's a lot of competition, not only for the United States, but also in Canada. But also they had to take like to work as much that harder right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the positive that you can take from this is, like I mentioned the example with the U.S. national team, you can take it to heart and then change up the system, change up how you work things out. And I think this could be I'm hoping that this is a wake up call that Mexico needs in order to improve their team.
Yep. And after we just talked about for the Copa America and a little bit of soccer, right now, let's get down for something that's gonna be incredible. And I know that some of the persons like Earl, Mitch from the Hardcore Sports Network, even Carlos from Just Fan Podcast, I know we're really love about for the wrestling because, like Earl say, we're not lawyers, we are like wrestling fans. So right now, the next week is gonna be Money in the Bank in Canada, and I know it's gonna be really excited right now. So this time it's gonna be like an early prediction for Money in the Bank. Is gonna be on the next week. So I gotta tell you, what prediction we have to go for it at the prediction. Who's gonna win the women's Money in the Bank competition, and what is about for the men competition? So now it's gonna be like a really higher right now, but I just wanted to see LA Knight winning Money in the Bank, and probably they're gonna cash in some of the championship. But
Mhm.
they're gonna take it like at the very elevated to this right stuff. But also they have like the main event, which is Priest versus Seth Rollins. I mean, it's gonna be like a good move to elevate his title run, but also it's gonna be like a little shocking between Cody, Randy Orton. Is gonna be perfect to setting off like a heel turn, but they need to someone on the borderline to being like a main event, and they wanted to need like the briefcase to push them for the next level.
Yeah, no, 100%. There has to be some sort of control there, at least with whoever's going to get the Money in the Bank, to kind of mix it up a little more, kind of like how you saw with Damian Priest last year. Even though we never knew exactly when Damian Priest was going to cash it in, but hey, he cashed it in right when it was supposed to cash it in, and it led for pretty good results at WrestleMania, as you saw. Um, Honestly, I would like to see LA Knight, LA Knight move up in that status. I think right now he's kind of stuck in a little bit of the mid card status. I would like to see him elevate more, or be in the mix up there with the Cody Rhodes and stuff like that. But and I don't know. I would like to see LA Knight. I don't know. I feel like when with this whole Drew McIntyre storyline and CM Punk and
Oh
coming
yes.
in, I feel like it kind of where he was going last year. Once like CM Punk came in and all these other storylines came in with Drew McIntyre and then Damian Priest as well. I feel like where he was going, it kind of brought him down just a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's just me seeing it that way, but uh, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like fighting Logan Paul isn't, that's not a bad thing either. But I do eventually, how do you call it? See, I would like to see LA Knight, um, elevate to the next level, or whatnot. So
I
this
mean,
is
I
my.
agree with that. I
Hmm.
agree with that, but I know this is gonna be like a real prediction right now, but
Sure.
I think between for the storylines
Hmm.
between Jay Uso, Randy Orton, there's Kevin Owens, and of course we just saw last night in Friday Night
Hmm.
SmackDown, which is like the involvement of the new bloodline, and it doesn't not include with Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And this might be like a really shocker right now. It might be
Hmm.
the great shocker. But also we just saw an NXT about for the appearance of Joe Hendry. I
Hmm.
will imagine, because imagine if LA Knight could have faced against Joe Hendry. I mean, Joe Hendry is like a very Scottish, but
Yeah.
also there's that LA Knight, which is have like in his own prime. But
Hmm.
I will think about it because that could have been like a really shocker right now. But also there's like a many faces we're gonna have like this one. But don't be surprised at it at all, because we just saw like a what Dean Ambrose is gonna be cashing in on the Money in the Bank just like a few years ago, which is
Hmm.
2016. But also there's like a lot of shocker, which is Finn Balor could be like the perfect choice to
Yeah.
win it, because
Hmm.
that waited too long. But that's gonna be like to reward him like the World Championship. But also there's some of the fans, they want to see LA Knight, because it could be give like a big push and keeping him like to the main event without having him like winning a belt right away.
Yeah. So for the Money in the Bank, we got it's Jey Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, and then am I missing somebody else? Finn Balor, right? You said Finn Balor.
Oh yes, it's just something familiar, which is CM Punk, or maybe it just happened. But also there is like a Dominic Mysterio is gonna be like a very involved.
Hmm.
But also I think it's gonna be like a very the time. But also I hope it's gonna be like a more interference. But
Hmm.
I hope it's gonna be like a Finn Balor's gonna win and cashing in on Damien. But it's gonna be like a very tricky pick. But
Yeah.
also the career like the swap. between Gunther. It's gonna be in the events, and
Cool.
imagine it's gonna be like a refreshing between Bash in Berlin, because
Yeah.
after that could be really interesting.
Yeah, no, exactly. It should be very interesting. I've really liked Gunther, dude. Like Gunther has been such an like so entertaining to watch. His ring skills, his mic skills. Overall, I've been a big fan of Gunther as well. So I'm really, he's one of the reasons why I also tune in Gunther. Like I don't know, for me, like just like the dude himself, the personality that he carries and stuff like that, kind of like that demeanor or what that he carries on with him. I like it. I'm a big fan of his. Do you what about Jey Uso? Do you think Jey Uso has a shot here?
Oh, definitely Jey Uso's gonna be there, but I guarantee that it might be gonna be like a shocker. But I would love to see like and the mat at the ladder match,
Mhm.
because I would love to see Jey Uso versus Chad Gable versus Finn
Yeah.
Balor versus Carmelo Hayes
Hayes,
versus
yeah.
Andrade versus Grayson Waller. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be like at a six man's at the later match, because I think Jay's gonna be like ready to win a world championship, and he was definitely at this top right now because he can wrestle, but it could be like the opportunist right now, but also it could be like a good pick like Andrade, Chad Gable, but
Mhm.
also don't be afraid about it, because it might be Carmelo Hayes could be like a shocker, become like a world heavyweight
True.
championship. I mean, there could be a work at it all, but all these things are gonna be like a surprise and Money in the Bank. I mean, they're gonna like taking it all for Jey Uso, because right now, I mean, there's gonna be like an enter on this prime after
Mhm.
he just saw for the bloodline. I mean, his jig movement. I mean, they increment a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, no, Jey Uso is the one that I have as my dark horse on this one for the Money in the Bank. I think he's gonna win that. To me, if I'm gonna predict who's gonna win that one, I know you said you had LA Knight, right? Is that what you said? I can remember.
Yes, the yeet movement, the
Yeah.
yeet.
I think Jey Uso gets this one. But you know when you said about Carmelo Hayes, honestly, that's not a bad idea either. He could come out of nowhere, Carmelo Hayes, but I'd like to see that too. I'd be interested to see Carmelo Hayes, but for me, if I were to pick somebody, I'd say Jey Uso wins the Money in the Bank ladder match. I think they're gonna try to put him up there and see what he's got and what he's capable of doing. Because he's got the mic skills, he's got the yeet movement, and in wrestling, if you can get the crowd going, if you're able to work the crowd, that's how you move up and get the title, the championships, and all those things. But I just don't think, like, I think it'll if Jey Uso gets it, I think if they're really trying to give it to him, it would be a good while before they do that, at least by next year, and by some weird way, I don't know how they would fit that into a storyline. Um, but I'd like to see how Jey Uso would get into the mix. But
I
I
agree
would
with
say,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But
Mm.
also, I mean, if speaking about for the Money in the Bank, I mean, there's like thousands of surprises.
Mm-hmm.
But also, this week, the next week is gonna be like a Money in the Bank. So I have like the last question, because
Mm-hmm.
right now we're just speaking about for Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So right now, tell us about who got the biggest shocking moment in the whole history of the pay-per-view Money in the Bank, because I do have my favorite, which is between Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns for the World Championship, and Dean Ambrose just won the briefcase, and then he just cashing in and winning all, because that was like a big shocker. So for you, who got like the biggest shocking moment in the whole history of the pay-per-view Money in the Bank?
Ooh, let me see. Honestly, that's kind of a tough one. I don't know. But the biggest shocking moment,
Mm-hmm.
as far as whoever won it, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Um, let me see. Man, I really did like when Damien won it. I don't think that would be the most shocking, but I
Mhm.
think that was one of those that kind of shocked me a little bit, because I was like, I didn't expect them to. I didn't think. I guess it's bad to say. I don't think. I don't want to say he wasn't ready for it. I just felt like he. I didn't remember. How do you call it? I didn't think he was not ready, but I didn't. I was surprised that they gave it to him with Damian Priest. Not in a bad way where I'm like, why'd they give it to him? It was more like, okay, interesting. I want to see what this is mainly about. But honestly, that's what I was thinking of. As of recent times, I want to say for me, it might have been Damian Priest. But you also have, I mean, Brock Lesnar at one point. Also, that that
Oh yeah, people
remember
remember.
that Brock Lesnar. That was another one. And I think he was the last entrant. If I'm not, I think 2019, right? He was like the last entrant when that happened. So, yeah, I would say the Brock Lesnar one too.
Oh yes,
Probably that one to me. If I were to say it, probably Brock
that
Lesnar.
was like the last entry. That was in 2019. But
Yeah,
also, I mean, there was like another one because remember WrestleMania 2008, where it comes to Orlando and Shelton Benjamin crashed through the ladder, which was like one of the most shocking moments because there was like a dangerous spots in the industry, crashing through a lot for the later really. But
yeah.
also there was like another moment we can never stick it about it, which is Paul Heyman turns on CM Punk. Remember
That
that thing with Paul
yeah,
Heyman turns out on CM Punk? That was just like really shocking at all
yeah,
because they had some what are the clients of the history because Heyman had just attacked with almost winning CM Punk, which is back in 2013. That marked like one of the greatest betrayals. And then 11 years later, we just see like another interaction between Paul Heyman and CM Punk, which is like,
yeah,
wow, what happened like at 11 years ago? So that was like pretty much there's like a lot of things they have to do.
yeah. I just remembered one thing. Kofi Kingston with the ladders, where he you know what I'm talking
Oh
about,
yes.
where he was walking with the two ladders. That to me that was also amazing because I think he had messed up. I think I read somewhere that he had messed up on it, and but that was like his way of saving or something. He was trying to do something else like a spot, and then I think he grabbed the two ladders also as well, and started like walking with them in the ring. So that was a good one because I know you mentioned Shelton Benjamin.
Yep.
That was I like that one, but I don't know. For me, I guess the Brock Lesnar one. I want to say that one for me when he was the last entrant in the Money in the Bank. So for me, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, yeah. I know this is gonna be like so realistic right now, but I mean, there's like a lot of shocking moments that we just saw, like
Yeah,
in the Money in the Bank, and we we just getting involved to see like the most important, the favorite moments, also the most shocking. But I guarantee the next week, Money in the Bank is gonna be like off the chain because we just wanted to see like a lot of surprises, but also favoritism, disappointment, everything else is going to happen in Money in the Bank, which is going to be on Canada, which is most people didn't know because this is going to be like the last international
right.
paper going to be headed in Canada before the Summer Slam is going to be on Cleveland, Ohio. And
Yeah.
it's going to be like super realistic. It's going to be super fantastic. So I got to tell you for this one of Just Fan Podcast. Thanks for joining us to this special episode of Let Them Speak. Talking about for Charlotte Football Club versus Houston Dynamo, a little bit of Copa America, and our earliest preview of Money in the Bank 2024. So, last thing before we're wrapping up. So, where can we find you? Where can we see you? All of the content around for the social media, then the people can see you all for the content.
So we have quite a few things now, which is great because I think our channels we've been happy that our channel has been doing pretty well. So the first place you can find us, we're actually streaming this on our channel right now and on our Twitter or X account or whatever Elon Musk calls it this week. It's at JustFans22 on our YouTube account. Just give us show us some support and subscribe to the channel. And we focus on Houston sports, whether it's which is Houston Texans, Houston Dynamo, Houston Astros, We talk a little bit of Houston Rockets. Well, I really don't. I'm not too much into the basketball scene. Surprise, but my co-host Rios and Pop, who do a phenomenal job. They can tell you, they can talk to you for hours regarding basketball, Houston Rockets stuff. So you can find us there at JustFans22 on our YouTube channel and our X account as well. It's at JustFans22. We've been going for 2 years strong, so I'm pretty happy about that. And then now recently, for NFL fans, we are part of a podcast network called the R. Esquina Podcast Network. And you can find us there under a different name because we host a show called Bring on the Blitz podcast related to everything NFL news related and also predominantly Houston Texans related. So Bring on the Blitz podcast. It's at B Blitz Pod. And that's where you can find us as well. And that's also our X handle at B Blitz Pod. I think you're on mute, Rafa.
All right, so thank you very much to having us at a special episode. And of course, my social media is gonna be at, which is formerly Twitter, at Capitán Rafucho. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at El Capitán Rafucho. Also, you can subscribe me on my channel on YouTube, El Capitán Rafucho. Almost there for 1K subscribers, 955 followers, which is subscribers. And I know that I'm being growing up for this one. So thank you very much for supporting us. Thank you for much love and respect. So this has been like an amazing special episode along with our special guest, Just Fans Podcast, talking about for soccer and wrestling. And of course, I will see you there later with a special live stream that they're gonna blow your mind. So thank you very much. Have a great one. Have a great Saturday. And of course, have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And as no
Hey, Rafael. Sorry. Hey, Rafael, real quick. Do you want to make a prediction of who's going to win today, Charlotte or Dynamo?
Oh yes, just look at the little ones. Who's going to win? Who's going to head to the goal? Yes.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to say Dynamo 3-2.
Oh, 3-2. Oh, that's very interesting.
What you got?
Oh, it's gonna be like a close game, but I will give like a Houston Dynamo 2, Charlotte Football Club 1. It's gonna be like very close, but very tight.
It's gonna be a good game for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a great game. So
yeah,
thank you very much, and of course, I will see you there at the next live stream. So don't forget to follow El Capitán Rafucho, almost there for 1K subscribers. So thank you very much. Have a great weekend, and of course, peace out. We're out of here.